All right, the best way to do your SEO for plumbers in 2025, new method. And guys, if you don't know us already, Plumbing Webmasters combined with DataPins, done this for 15 years. Here in Fort Worth, all the work occurs here. I've tried out of the country so many times and even out of this office, so it's under the roof. That's the best way to have it done. We watch it
my
like
watchful eye.
under both of our watchful eyes. Yeah, old school, done it a long time.
Yeah.
Hard to get services like this old school Texas service with all the credentials we have. So I thought maybe I'll let you talk about the old school way of doing SEO.
The old way.
Yeah, the old SEO way.
This is a subtle dig at how old I am.
Dude, I'm almost the same age.
Yeah, but I'm going to be 55 in like 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to be officially a senior citizen. Okay, the old way of doing SEO. The old way of doing SEO was, the biggest thing was buying links. It was crap tons of pages and contrived content, multi-time a week blogging, listicles, like 3 ways to do this, to that, or the other.
On the blog, three
on the
reasons to
blog.
check your plumbing or whatever, or to change out to a tankless water heater.
And it was all contrived, and it was basically centered around the idea of fooling the algorithm.
Right. Okay.
It was
trick them.
It was tips and tricks, emphasis on tricks. It was trying to trick Google into putting you first.
Right. And I'll say something there. So, and what's changed on that is basically nothing except people trying to get fancier about the way they trick Google.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of this massive shift from the Google Helpful Content Update. I'd like to go back and talk about this just a tiny bit on the old way. I can imagine we have a little software company here and all the work that's gone into it, but the algorithm used to like link out if they had a bunch of backlinks that said best Dallas plumber. It's like Google's like, well, they're the best Dallas plumber.
Oh, that must be the guy.
So that, and I can imagine the line of code being about this long.
Yeah.
And Google had to fix this. Their search engine would have crumpled, just so people understand. They get all mad at Google, but think about what happened. There was Alta Vista or some crud, you remember, and some other
Alta Vista, Yahoo, web crawler.
Web crawler. And so there's these people, and they're starting up, and everybody finds this one trick pony for SEO and starts doing this to the point that they're going to go out of business because when you go in to look for a plumber, you find something really bad or a Hawaiian vacation or whatever crud. Yeah. And that used to happen all the time, if y'all remember. And so then I can imagine they had to fill up enough code to fill this whole room that we're in. Stacks of paper on stacks of paper, billion lines of code. Took 10 years, roughly. And when they did that, they started penalizing these. But today, domain authority and some linking is still part of it, but they're not fooled by it anymore.
Yeah, it has to be legitimate. It can't. If you buy a link, probably bad.
So, yeah, people still buying links. Only think about that. But people actually still put in tons of content all the time. Just reached a guy today with an 818-page site, completely penalized through the Google Helpful Content Update. And, I mean, deviations from norm even are spam. I talked to a guy the other day, plumber. I'm not going to even say what market he was in, but he had 4 GBPs. So actually, I won't even say what he was doing because I don't want to tip anybody's hat to him, but he had a pretty brilliant thing going on because he knew somebody that owned another type of company that had this extra space. Okay. And so anyway, but most people start, if you're a plumber in the market and you get 4 GBPs, how many plumbers have 4 legitimate GBPs in any market in a Google map? How many?
Especially when they just started.
Well, I'm going to tell you it's probably 1 or 2 or none.
Yeah.
How many have 2? Maybe a few legitimately. So I said, don't get another one. I said, why? I said, because it's Willie's gold. The Goonies, man. You don't take the gold to tip the scale, you're done. And so they're eventually going to look at deviations from norm and call it spam. This guy has too many pages. This guy has too many Google business profiles. And so you look at it from that standpoint. And also, if you attempt to curate content, you attempt to come up with blogs and things, you're automatically spamming by nature because you're not creating a good user experience. Nobody wants to read this stuff.
Right.
So this is all the old school stuff, happens all the time, and it's synonymous with all the sites. You can call them articles. You can try to dress it up, and it's still spam all day long. And the algorithm now is so smart that the code probably fills up a 50-story building if you had to print it all out.
Yeah, and that's the thing that That's the big difference, is how smart the algorithm really is.
Right.
It was originally, how many backlinks do they have? That was the algorithm. You have the most backlinks, you were number one, period.
Right.
And then they started to add more.
Let's saturate Dallas Plumber in our homepage at a 5% ratio to other words. And, it worked.
Yeah.
And
we did it because it worked.
I think we were doing like 2.8% or 3%, and then it went down, and then eventually you just kind of got rid of that.
Yeah.
But
okay, just put it in there in whatever way is natural.
because they required it, I might add. Not because we were trying to trick them, because it was required to get recognized by the algorithm.
Right.
But let's talk about the new way and what's required to get recognized by the algorithm today, and why so many of your websites aren't working, why so many of them have gotten screwed up, what happened in 2024, or what's going on in 2025. So your website ranking went down because the algorithm has gotten smarter, and the content that you have and the signals that you have aren't conducive to a good user experience or conducive to good brand signaling for your brand, or enough myriad of them.
Right.
And so somebody has up a bad website that never gets touched and you get reviews, you're not going to show up in ranking very easily. Somebody puts up a website and spams the hell out of it, puts up a lot of blog entries, links into it from out of the country nonstop, and gets a lot of reviews. You're spamming the hell out of stuff, and you won't show up very well. So what do? I will say that, like, as far as a great website with modern practices, fix it. We pivot when Google pivots. Sometimes Google says stuff they used to, but they weren't able to judge it.
Yeah.
That's really kind of over on some level at this point.
Well, it used to be, when they told you to do this, they were telling you
what they'd like you to do,
where they were, where their roadmap was taking them,
right,
on their back end, on what they wanted to program the algorithm to do.
Right.
And it used to be it took 10 years, like originally. Now, 3 months. If they tell you do this, that means they've got an update rolling out within 3 months that's going to do that.
I'll segue here on something interesting, and I don't agree with this at all, because I consider it like big business colluding with government to suppress the citizenry. But there is a law against these fake addresses now and fake subs. And when did that go live?
I don't even remember.
But it was
and fake reviews. That's a felony.
So fake reviews, is it fake Google accounts as well? Or just fake followers?
I think it's one of those things that the law is slightly ambiguously worded.
Was it the FCC
so it could count those? Like a good lawyer could make it count.
Okay. Was it FTC, FCC? Anyway, one of these agencies literally made this stuff a potential felony. And so not only are they able to catch it most time, if they don't catch it, you've broken a law that they put teeth to.
Yeah, it's not just breaking one of Google's rules. It's now the law.
It's now the law, which is freaking ridiculous.
Kind of crazy.
I think they should get rid of it, but it is what it is, and you should know it's out there.
Neither of us is a senator.
Yeah. So the new way of let's talk about what you can do. You get a great website up as far as SEO is concerned, and you start sending digital brand signaling. Things like DataPins and why it's so unique. Let's talk about DataPins and what's interesting. Let me step back and talk about high-end essential SEO, which I call brand signaling. Google calls experience, expertise, authority, and trust, EEAT. But they still need content, but they don't want your trash, and you're not supposed to think you're smarter than them or try to come up with some scheme to trick them. You're supposed to put up service pages, maybe some city pages, and then you're supposed to start multi-channel signaling of the brand, saying, I'm here, we did this, we did that, check out my brand. I've got something that I think a customer would really like to see on my website, not just a review only. So DataPins allows you to tag a job, every job. And I'll stop here and talk about DataPins for just a minute, really in depth why it's so important.
Right.
If you have 100 reviews, let's say you have 100. That's all they know you did. You got your little website there and 100 reviews. You want your life to get better. You'd like to add more trucks, and you wonder what's going on. It's because you have a basic website, 100 reviews. So does another 100, 200, 400 plumbers in your market.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting there, and you want to get recognized. 1 out of 15 people's leaving you a review, and it's a one-sided brand signal. One little thing comes in, a review, like tink. 2 weeks later, tink, tink, and Google's like,
you're not very active.
We see it. You're not very active. There's some dudes that are really killing it out here. And it's like, I'm going to go throw in 1,000 blogs. And like, no, don't do that. I'm going to spam this. Let's go open 5 locations. hell with this. Call Regis and DaVinci Virtual. Let's go. I was like, I got my Meemaw's house and
we got an email from a client today wanting to open up new virtual offices.
Yeah.
In 2025.
Yeah.
And we had to respond to them. It's like, you cannot do that. Please do not try.
Well, that's what people do. So instead of doing that, you get your basis set, you get a great website, you get things around the web done, citations, etc., and then you start doing a pin on every job. Google, this lady may not leave me a review, even though DataPins sent them a text and email asking for one. But we absolutely worked on a Renai tankless water heater right here. In fact, here's the geo coordinates. It looks like a red pin drop to me, but to you, I know it looks like the geo coordinate wrapped in schema, which says I was here.
It says I was here performing service.
Yeah.
It's not saying this is a service I am willing to perform. It's saying this is a service I did perform.
I did this. Please recognize.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you worked on Renai and Navy. Yeah, we do. And if you have anybody searching for these, which I know you do, we'd like to pull up for that. And Google's like, well, people do search for it. And this is the only website that's showing a good user experience, or that we even aware that you're doing this in a format we can show to somebody.
Right. Every other plumber in your area is just saying, yeah, I do water heaters. I do tankless even.
Yeah.
But you're the only one saying I do Renai tankless water heater.
Let me give you another way to look at this. So let's say that we write a web page for you, which we will, for tankless water heaters or let's just say water heaters. And all of a sudden, there's another hundreds of plumbers that have the same page. But your page starts getting tagged every time you do one, almost daily, every other day. I did this, 40-gallon expansion tank, American Standard, replace this part, 50-gallon expansion tank, Renai tankless water heaters. Here's the geo coordinate, here's the photo. Y'all know that counts as unique content, validation of work in the market. It'll help the map show up better. And now they know you work on all these other things. Guess what happens to the keywords for that page? And if Google looks at all the other hundreds of water heater pages and yours has been validated recently 100 times, it not only show up better for primary keywords, but now somebody's searching for this other stuff. You're literally the only trustworthy one that's validated that has a good user experience that they can even show.
Right.
So it's incredible what happens to it when you do stuff properly.
Because every other plumber in the market probably has a water heater page that looks like a 2,000-word wiki article.
Right.
With a lot of, not necessarily irrelevant, but extraneous information.
Right.
And yours has a brief definition of the service, the statement that you perform that service, and where you perform it, and then all these pins showing examples of where you've done it.
And it's easy. It takes about 60 to 90 seconds on an app on your phone in the field. There is a desktop version of it. You could retro it after off the CRM, the field office CRM you're using.
Yeah.
Literally just tag up to 6 photos, write that caption, it'll grab the geo coordinate. It's synced in with the website since we built it into the build, and they can stick it straight up to the page they want, the city page they want. Client will automatically get texted and emailed, and then the website gets updated. Google's going to search the website more frequently now to crawl it or spider it, whatever.
Because they see,
yeah,
each time they crawl it, they say, oh, these guys are updating this constantly, so I have to look at it more often,
right,
to make sure I'm up to date with it.
I mean, if you're spamming your site or it's stagnant, they might not come but every 90 days. If you've got good content coming regularly, they're interacting with you once a week with the crawler. They're not going to waste their resources if there's nothing going on or just trash.
Right.
They might even uncache your pages if it's all trash, by the way. And in fact, the guy that had 818 pages might have had more, but that's all that was indexed at that time. So
I'm surprised he had that many indexes.
Right, because it's clearly was trash. So the fact that he still had it. But yeah, so guys, listen, we do this. We've done this for 15 years. Digital marketing agency, literally a proprietary means we built it from scratch. Software company built it literally because we know how to optimize, and the organics are that important. When you call us, we do not fight you trying to get a bunch of paid stuff that has a poor ROI. We are specialists and experts at getting organic up, map ranking up, keywords up and ranking. If you're up on Google Maps and organic and Bing Maps and organic, you're automatically up on Bing's ChatGPT and Gemini on Google. The AI searches is part of it if the brand is excellent, which we know how to do. Take a look at our other podcasts and videos. When you're ready, give us a call. We'd love to help you like we have so many plumbers for so many years.